Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishnah Yoma, Parakeh, chapter 5, Mishnah Beis, Mishnah 2. Okay, so yesterday we were learning how the Kohen Gadol brought into the Kodesh HaKadoshim the incense and the coals, and how he burnt the incense on the coals in the Kodesh HaKadoshim in between the poles of the Aron of the Ark. So now Mishnah Beis reads like this: Mishanita al ha'aron. After the ark was taken away. Who took it away?
Either it was buried or they took it to Bubble.
Okay. So I always assumed it was hidden away.
Yeah.
But they bring down here, I guess, another opinion. I'm just saying here in the art school, they don't even bring down that other one about it being hidden away. After it was taken by Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian general, who destroyed the first Beis HaMikdash. He took it away. Okay. So we always talk about all the stuff in Rome, but no one talks about anything in Babylonia, because we don't have no idea where it would be. All right. Mishanit al Ha'aron, once the ark was taken, Evan Ha'isasham, there was a stone there. It was there from the days of the first prophets, which doesn't mean it was there from then. It was there from before that. But it was discovered before the Beis Hamikdash was built in the days of the early prophets, who were Shmuel HaNavi with David HaMelech. Okay, they were the ones who discovered it. Ushasiya haya nikres, and this stone was called Shasiya. That's what they called it. All right, why was it called Shasiya? The answer is because Shasiya means foundation. And this rock was the foundation of the world. What does it mean? It's the foundation of the world. So they bring down here from Rashi in the Gemara. In the notes they write it like this: Hashem created the Shasiya stone, and then attached clods of earth to it from every side until the world was formed. It started from this rock, and everything else was attached to it, and therefore it is called the Evan Shasiya, the foundation stone. That's what it was called. Now listen to this. Gavoya min haaretz shalosh etzbais. Its height from the ground was 3 fingers. Do you know how much 3 fingers in height is? And we're not talking about like this. It's not 3 fingers going up like that. It's like this. So you're talking about anywhere between, let's call it 2.5, 3 inches. That's how high it was. Okay. The aleh hayanoisein, and the coals and the burnt ketores was placed on it, and upon it the Kohen Gadol placed the shovel of coals and burned the ketores. It was on top of that rock. Meaning where now? What that means? What this seems to have to mean is that when there was the ark, right? It was between the poles of the ark. Now it sounds like. Right? Sounds like now that when there's only the stone, right? Now let's back up for a second. Where was the stone until now? When they had the ark, where was the stone? Under the ark, right? Yeah. The Aron was on top of that stone, right? And the poles that came out, we learned yesterday, the ketores was burned in between the poles. Now, if you're trying to go ahead and now do the same thing with the rock, with the Evan Shasiya, right? So you wouldn't be putting it on the rock. You should be putting it on something that would be the equivalent or something similar to the two poles sticking out. That's what it would seem now. So they say like this: the previous Mishnah stated that the ketores was burned in front of the ark, between the 2 poles, right? You didn't put the shovel and ketores on the Aron, you put it in between, which would mean it would have been in front of it and between the poles, like in this little picture, right? The box is the ark, is the Aron, and you got the poles extending to the curtain to the wall that's separated, right? Now, but you don't have that here. So it seems therefore that part of the Shasiya stone extended in front of the ark. It was on this part that Kohen Gadol burnt the ketores. You get that? So what we have is like this. The Shasiya stone was embedded in the ground beneath the ark. The first and second Beit HaMikdash were built over and around the stone, and the ark was placed on top of it. But now we need to find the equivalent of in front of the ark, not on the ark, but in front of the ark. So there, no, didn't have to go. Didn't go that close to it. So now, like saying, well, like when they had the Aron. Now it's therefore it seems that part of the Shasiya stone extended in front of the ark, meaning even when the Shasiya stone was there and the Aron was there, and we say the Aron was on top of the Shasiya stone. It's not like the Shasiya stone was completely covered by the Aron, by the ark. Some of it extended out. That extended out area is where the shovel with the coals and the kleris was burned and it was done, because it needed to be done in front of the Aron, not on the Aron, in front of the Aron. So the equivalent of in front of the Aron would be the area of the stone upon which you had the part of the stone that the ark was sitting on, and then you had some of it coming out in the front. That area out in the front, that was the area which originally was in between the two poles, was the area that they burned the Ketores and the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So even now where there was no ark and there were no two poles, it was still on that area in front of the ark that the Ketores was burnt. So it was burnt in the same place as when the ark was there. But the Mishnah word, the meaning of the wording of the Mishnah is which would sound like it was on the rock itself. The answer is it was on the rock, but it wasn't on the rock, part of the rock where the Aron stood. It was on the part of the rock that extended in front of the Aron, which would have been the area in between the two poles, or at least works as well as the area between the two poles, so that it's burnt in front of the ark, not on the ark. Get what I'm saying? Get it? The point is that you've got originally you had the ark, which was on top of the stone, and then you had in between the poles. It doesn't really say where in between the poles it was done. It could have been anywhere in between the poles. Probably not too close to the curtain either. But it doesn't say exactly where in between the poles it was. It was in between the poles, which means it's in front of the ark. Okay? But now there is no ark. The only thing left is the stone that the ark was sitting on. And now, but so you're not going to, so now the point now is to put the Ketores where it would have been if the ark would have been here. So now if there is, so now the assumption would be, well, the ark was on top of the stone. No ark, no stone. Okay. So the Mishnah seems to say you're putting it on the stone when you're burning the incense. So the answer is no. You're not putting it on the stone. You're putting it on the stone, but not in the part of the stone where the ark sat, but rather in a part of it that extended in front of it. And therefore, and that was the same thing as burning. Maybe it could have been the exact same spot that they would have done it in between the poles. But the point is, in this way, you have it in front, like you would have it in front of the ark. Now it's in front of the area where the ark would have stood. Have a wonderful day and wonderful Shabbos.
Thank you, Rabbi.
It only talks of the